Today I am joined with Rowan Thambar. Rowan, tell us a bit about your background. What got you started in comedy, things like that?
I just loved comedy when I was a kid, and I used to watch The Chasers when I was in high school, and I used to watch it on the TV upstairs, and then Summer Heights High used to be on directly after, and I used to watch The Chasers, and I had to go to bed at 9:30. And then I'd turn the TV down a little bit so my mum couldn't hear downstairs. Just loved it. Loved comedy, and saw a few live shows, saw Tim Minchin. It was kind of man, that would be so fun to do.
I realised I was brown when Catherine Butter came up to me and she asked me one question. She asked me this, right? She walked up to me and she said, "Hey Rowan, can I borrow your skin-coloured pencil?" Oh. I didn't even think about it, right? I just gave her the brown. I was like, haha, yeah, boo. And she looked at me, looked at the pencil, looked back at me, and realised she worked out my ethnicity. I just watched her work out my ethnicity. And she looks at me, right? And she looks at me and she goes, "No, silly, I want this one." And she picks up the tan-coloured one, and she just walks away, leaving me to deal with this ethnical conundrum, right? I'm just replaying what just happened in my head. I was I went over, she came over, I was like, yeah, I was like, yeah, that's fine. I was like, yeah, hey, boo. And I was like, oh, she don't know, I want this one. I was like, oh.
What is the Comedy Zone and how did you get involved in it?
The Comedy Zone is a group of 5 up-and-coming comedians from across Australia. And we're all fighting for the few places in comedy that you can have. No. Well, kind of. I don't know. The festival gone. These guys are pretty great. Let's give them a go. The other guys are super funny. We were all doing our jokes just in this little room, and everyone killed. So it's just great to be with other comedians who are different, but also just and doing cool things in comedy. I think it's inspiring, and so I'm just stoked to be a part of it all.
Do you have any tips on a good flyering session?
Well, no. I mean, I think it's all about, you gotta judge the person. And not in a bad way, but you gotta eye them out and see what kind of person are you. There's different kinds of people. There's people who are super keen to have a chat, and they're great. Unless they want to keep talking to you, and then you're missing out on all the other business, and you spend 5 minutes on someone, and then they don't come to your show. Then there are the people who are just walk-bys, who are just yep, thank you, and you may or may not ever see them again. I think what's hard about flying is that you have is whether to be your character that you are on stage or to be just yourself, because it can be a bit tiring to just be your character. I mean, for me, I'm quite enthusiastic on stage, and so being enthusiastic and kind of giving energy in the day-to-day is just emotionally draining. But yeah, I don't know, just give it a go, do it, I think is just the only thing.
I help house desperate refugees. It's part of my plan to induct them into my pyramid scheme. And I teach children how to read so they can help me sell amphetamines, yeah. Talking about A, B, C, D, amphetamines.
I started playing piano at 6. I think my parents kind of realised I was kind of musical, and they were like, "You should learn piano," and I loved it. And I kind of was classically trained from then.
So, what other effects do you have on that keyboard?
Got sexy 80s. Oh, well, that's not sexy 80s. What else we got? We've got it was a skill that I had, and I was like it makes sense to kind of integrate it. I think Tim Minchin was a big influence for me when I was growing up, because I saw him doing it. I was like, wait, you can do stand-up and you can do like musical comedy and like Fly the Conchords and that kind of stuff. And that stuff really kind of I went like, oh wow, that's so cool and different. And yeah, I really love playing piano and doing music. And so I was like, yeah, seems like a great way to integrate those two passions.
Got one more for you guys.
I like performing and I like expressing myself. I think it's great that, you know, you can demand to be heard on stage. You know, it's a kind of interesting thing, and people come to see you say something. I think that's a cool thing, but also like it's a big responsibility, because you have a responsibility to say something that means something. I think just the act of performing, I think, is something I've always liked. And so yeah, I like doing that, and I like meeting other people, and also just like gives you a different perspective on life, I think, as well.
Do you have any advice for any aspiring comedians out there who may or may not be watching this?
Just try it out and be kind to people. That's kind of it, I reckon.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, that wasn't very kind, but you know,
Bonnie's a really great comedian.
She's wonderful.
She's really funny, and I'm really glad to be a part of this Comedy Zone crew with, you know, she's really talented, and the way that she kind of hits the jokes, it's kind of yeah, she crushes. I'm glad these aren't Word's originals. Just be kind to people, yeah.
That's some solid advice. And on that note, thank you for joining us today, Rowan. It's been a real pleasure. All the best with your shows,
Kat.
man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
Thanks.
All the best.